Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. In the last episode, Ragna the Blood Edge was victorious in his sparring match with the vampiric aristocrat Rachel Alucard. Now with that particular detour behind him, he's finally reached the 13th hierarchical city of Kagutsuchi, where he has chosen to go the scenic route in order to avoid any attention from the NOL, by which I of course mean the sewers.
Well, I guess up's the only way I can go. What's that?
That, Ragna, is what I would go so far as to call foreshadowing. It seems that he has drawn some other kind of unwarranted attention. Usually the only thing you find on the bottom levels is crap, literally. But I think I just saw a black shadow move across the stairs. Shit, there it is again. That thing better not be a goddamn ghost. Ghosts are just playing dirty. Can't hit him, cut him, anything. I really don't have time for a freaking ghost right now. Because in the world where there's a vampire, why not ghosts? Doesn't feel like a ghost, but something about it does feel familiar.
What the hell's wrong with you? You're harnessing power from the boundary, aren't you?
Now the boundary itself is, well, what can be described through mainly hyperbole and superstition, is essentially, well, let's just say it's said to contain an infinite wealth of knowledge and information. Unfortunately, in reality, well, while this could be said to be true, the boundary also contains something else. Essentially, it is the origin from which the ether substance flows into the world. And for anyone trying to basically tap into the boundary, that is a somewhat of a detrimental combination, because the ether can corrupt, well, the human body, being completely detrimental to all living things, as well as the knowledge and wisdom contained within, being able to overwhelm any conventional human mind in the process.
I sense power from you.
And we finally get a glimpse of the creature that's been hunting Ragna ever since he came into the sewers. This entity is known by the name of Arakune. And yeah, he's definitely a sight to behold. Now we do actually have the option of displaying the entirety of Arakune's broken text there, but I've decided against it since that is essential to his character. But believe it or not, once upon a time Arakune actually used to be human before being corrupted by drinking too deeply of the boundary. Yeah, now he's become an existence that defies explanation. And even though he is wearing a faceplate, not necessarily, one cannot necessarily say that he has anything akin to a head anymore, given his unique physiology. Basically what I'm trying to say is that that faceplate that he is wearing actually serves no purpose. Even though it looks like he has a pair of eyes and a mouth, that mask is essentially useless as far as Arakune is concerned.
You've completely lost it.
It must happen.
Now it seems that Arakune senses something called the Azure emanating from Ragna's blood edge. And of course, for those of you who have studied up on your colors, Azure is another name, or at the very least, one of the many shades of the color blue.
Idiot. To turn to power like that.
That ball must possess now.
Well, it seems like Arakune wants to acquire, and by acquire, I of course mean consume, the power that Ragna possesses, apparently.
Well, that is inevitable. Though I can sympathize with your appearance. Don't get in my way.
Now we basically reached the second battle. This time against Arakune, or Ragna, as the spider motif now reveals.
The wheel of fate
And
is
speaking
turning.
of spider motifs, that's very important.
One. Action!
By the way, the stage theme is that of Arakune's. I believe it's called Thin Red Line. And it is, it actually does have a chilling opening, to say the least. Rather eerie, if I do say so myself. Now, speaking of Arakune, let's have a look at his commands. Well, his command list. Basically, Arakune's drive Crimson, as you can see, summons insects that mark the opponent with a curse. That curse is, yeah, that curse can be annoying, because he can then follow it through by basically summoning a whole bunch of insects from within his own body. Yeah, Arakune is a very overwhelming opponent in that regard. Then we have Zero Vector, which of course summons more insects, and of course, yeah, he can curse you with that too, along with Crimson, which is very unfortunate. Then he has his attacks are rather interesting. You have if P then Q, which it says create an image to trick the opponent. It basically, well, yeah, probably creates a mirror image of some kind. But it looks rather oddly like an equation, which actually befits Arakune's mysterious human nature. Because believe it or not, he actually used to be a researcher himself before he was consumed by the power of the boundary. Y2-, multi-stage spinning attack, equals 0. Arakune camouflages himself into the background. Basically, he turns invisible. Yeah, he can turn invisible, which is even more annoying. F of G performs an unblockable attack below Arakune. And curses, of course it does. F inverse, an anti-air attack, which in which he can actually move rather quickly, and I believe that is it for Arakune's combo attack. So let's get this show on the road. Right off the bat, he teleports, but Ragna was ready for him. Trying to go for a dead spike there. There we go. Oh, and there's the curse. Trying to cover, but he can summon his insects. Get back here. Nope. I don't want him summoning his oh, no. No. You're not summoning your insects. Thank you very much. I'm so glad for the special weapons, just in case. But Ooh! We try and recover. Back here. He's a very wily opponent, is Arakune, and he can be quite devastating. But, Ragna doesn't have time to mess around, and, fortunately we got lucky there.
Gosh, I need it.
Because because Arakune could very well have unleashed one of his distortions, which would have actually been very bad news for Ragna.
Sorry, you can't have this. But the least I can do is let you go in peace.
But Ragna managed to survive this unwanted encounter. So I believe the time has come to finish off Arakune with his blade.
Stop!
Some chick runs in out of nowhere and throws herself between me and the monster. She trying to protect that ugly piece of crap? Indeed she is. This woman here is known as Lychee Faline, and believe it or not, she's a clinic. She's a doctor that runs a clinic right here in Kagutsuchi itself. But the fact that she is actually protecting Arakune from Ragna actually hints at a lot of things.
Huh? Who the hell are you? You're in the way! Move!
I'll take care of this, so please, don't hurt him.
Yeah, I'm going to infer from this that Lychee is familiar with Arakune, or rather, the individual he used to be.
This feeling. You have it too, don't you? What the hell is up with this town?
Ah, that explains it. Maybe not everything, but it certainly explains enough. It appears that Lychee has also been somewhat corrupted by the boundary, albeit to a much lesser extent than Arakune himself, which would suggest to me that the two were once colleagues once upon a time, and that Lychee was in fact a researcher in and of her own right.
Please.
But in any case, it seems that she is determined to preserve Arakune's existence as long as possible.
Do you have any idea what that guy's done? If you do, then you should know it's already too late to save him.
Although Ragna believes that Arakune is past the point of no return, and he might be right about that.
I know that. But there has to be a way.
That sliver of hope that you're looking for, Lychee, I believe it's referred to as a needle in a haystack.
Jeez, how many of you got involved with the boundary?
More than you know, Ragna. More than you know. Now, we actually have two options that we can choose here. We can choose to move on, or we can, well, ignore Lychee's concerns and try to basically keep Arakune from skulking any further, because Arakune actually represents a quite a considerable threat to anyone wandering through the lower aspects of Kagutsuchi. Now, depending on what choice you take, the certain choices actually lead to very different story paths, but yeah. Going to apologies, Lychee, but
Damn it, are you blind? There's no way we can leave that roaming around. Move or I'll cut you down with him.
yeah, Ragna is about as sharp, about as subtle as his sword. But Lychee is definitely adamant that she can save the human that Arakune once was.
I'm not moving.
And she's not backing down, even from the Grim Reaper of all people.
Do you really know how dangerous that thing is?
Well, to be fair, you're dangerous in and of your own right, Ragna.
He's gone far beyond any level where you can save him. Seriously, if you don't move, I'll kill you too.
Yeah, Ragnar is running out of patience.
I can't step aside. I will take full responsibility for his actions. And this is something I have already decided.
And yet Lychee isn't giving an inch.
Besides, I can say the same about your ignorance. You're Ragna the Blood Edge, right? Do you know anything about that grimoire you're carrying?
Yeah. Seems that word travels fast here in Kagutsuchi. And yeah. Now many people may be wondering why would Ragna the Blood Edge be carrying a tome or grimoire? Well, the fact is that he is carrying an artifact of sorts, but believe it or not, it has nothing to do with a book in this case. Because in the world of BlazBlue, grimoires are not necessarily conventional tomes, but they are artifacts of incredible power. And speaking of which, that is exactly why the NOL has actually managed to garner such influence in the world as of late, because of the incredible amount of grimoires they've actually accumulated over the years. But Ragna's grimoire is, shall we say, special. Remember the prosthetic arm that Ragna wears in place of the right arm that was taken from him many years ago? That is the grimoire in question, not the little gem that sits atop his hand, because he wears one on his left hand too. Ragna's grimoire is actually his entire right hand, and more specifically, it is the Azure Grimoire, which explains why Arakune was after him to begin with. Basically, the Azure Grimoire is what enables. It is the source of Ragna's soul engine drive, and basically all his soul devouring abilities.
You better choose your words wisely.
Please.
Seems we've reached a stalemate of sorts.
Ah, jeez. Okay, I got it. You can have it your way.
Yeah, Ragna doesn't have time for any of this. He's already been here far longer than he ever wanted to be.
So don't give me that look. You're making me look like the bad guy.
Well, from the perspective of the NOL, you are definitely the bad guy.
Oh? Aren't you that wanted vicious criminal?
Are you looking to collect the NOL's bounty, Lychee?
Yeah, whatever you say. Alright, I'm taking off, so that dirty rag is all yours. If it gets out of hand, make sure you toss him in the incinerator. Or is it the compost heap?
Yeah, sage advice there, Ragna. Although who calls compost compost? It's kind of a weird enunciation.
Ragna,
Yeah?
thanks. You're a lot nicer than I thought.
Save it.
Yeah, Ragnar doesn't really care for anyone's opinions, which should blatantly be obvious. I give the girl a single wave goodbye and leave. I've seen what happens to people that thing eats many times, but I gotta see what that girl's up to.
Good luck.
I wonder, maybe Arakune isn't the only former human affected by the boundary. Maybe there are others too. I mutter something no one else can hear. And, well, time to save again, I suppose.
Finally.
And, we finally make our way out of the sewers. I can't forget the eyes of the chick who tried to keep me from killing that monster. I'm no match for those eyes. Straightforward, honest, pure. They just make me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Ragna may have a rough exterior and personality, but he's no sadist, that's for sure.
I guess I'm pretty soft after all. God, now that pisses me off. Huh?
Though he actually is somewhat fond of his reputation of his as the Grim Reaper, even if he says he doesn't really care what people say. You see, has certain standards. I'm thinking about shit and I don't realize. I'm so busy thinking about shit that I don't realize I've ended up in the business district. I am a wanted man after all. Maybe I shouldn't be around crowds. That's definitely a good idea, although it's a little too late, seeing as how we're now in a public area. But I believe that will be it for this particular episode of Let's Play BlazBlue Calamity Trigger. When we return, we'll see whether or not Ragna is successful in making his way through the streets of Kagutsuchi without getting spotted by any more unwanted passers-by. The likelihood of that is probably going to be fairly low. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.